Whatever your fancy is, whatever code, whatever country, we have got it covered right here on Fox Sports. Hope you're enjoying tonight. We've got 2 more remaining on this 5-fight card live from the Challenge Stadium in Perth. Still to come. Our semi-main event is for the vacant Australian junior lightweight title. It is Junmar Dulog, who is now qualified for residency with 12 bouts, 4 wins, 2 KOs. And his opponent tonight is William Kickett, a young man with a perfect record and massive raps. Our main event is at light heavyweight. The road to gold continues for Danny Green. It is Otis Griffin, Danny Green, 2 genuine top 15 light heavyweights going at it. The crowd has piled in here to the Challenge Stadium here in Perth. Approaching 20 to 7 local time, so work is done for the day. The main event not too far away, as I said earlier. The Danny Green story is quite the story. It has been an amazing journey for the kid from WA, and it's been recorded all on DVD.
Faced with 40-foot waves, that's real fear for me. That's fear. I know when to pull back then. Something holds me back there. So I'm scared of dying, but just not inside a boxing ring.
It's sort of the Wild West of sports. You know, everything else is very much organized. The team that wins the 50 games goes into the final. And here it's on every level, as I said, the negotiating to get to the championship, the opportunity to fight for the big fight. It's not always left to the best fighter. It's left to the best manipulated fighter, the best managed fighter, the best promoted fighter.
Danny's a pretty important piece of cattle at the moment, you know.
I was worried for his health, but also I was worried for Green in general.
If there is an accidental headbutt, I will call either way, accidental or intentional. I will make a ruling right then and there.
I'm just hoping you do it at the top.
Danny Green, The Fight Game, coming soon. You can visit the website www.fightgamethemovie.com. And if you're a genuine Aussie and a genuine boxing or sports fan, as the three of us like to say we are, you still get a little bit of rage, a little bit of anger looking back at Marcus Bayer, Danny Green.
Oh, it burns the inside when you see that. It's a chance to win big.
It was the chance to, Paul, wasn't it?
Look, you look back so many ways. Danny Green should have been the world champion that night, and that DVD, there's a seedy world of boxing that the fans don't normally see behind the scenes what happens, and that DVD shows it's one of the best boxing documentaries I've ever seen.
It's been a remarkable journey since Marcus Bayer 1 and Marcus Bayer 2. Of course, Eric Luca over in Canada. And if you're on an Anthony Mundine card or a Danny Green card, doesn't matter what year it is, you do have to go back to May 2006. And it was a night that tested both boxers. Win, lose or draw, it was great for the sport of boxing. That seedy underworld or undercurrent was forgotten, and the sport shone.
Oh, it did. I mean, you see the people, everybody, even guys that never knew about boxing, knew about it, knew about Mundine, knew about Green, and it bring the sport back to where it should be, at the top. And the crowd came out to it, people watching on TVs, in their pubs and clubs, really bring the sport back.
And since, Paul, both guys have gone on to bigger and better things and improved both men as individuals.
Well, Anthony Mundine is clearly the #1 fighter in Australia today. There's no doubt about that after Victor Chinian's loss. But of course, you know, that as much as Eric Vic's done, the world title wins, Anthony Mundine is #1. But Danny Green, I think he's better at light heavyweight. Physically, he shouldn't have been at super middleweight that night, but that night showed when you put a great fight on, the fans come out, and boxing is still the sport that all other sports aspire to.
Okay, let's cut through the nonsense. Let's cut through the garbage. Green, Mundine 2. Will it happen?
No, I don't think so.
Nothing for sure. When Danny Green wins the IBF light heavyweight world title, Anthony Mundine will come up and challenge him. We'll be over here in Perth. Mundine Green 2. It'll be just as big with the light heavyweight world title on the line.
Anthony Mundine plus a couple of extra kilograms.
Well, you've got to remember, I think that the two of them could make more money from that fight than any other fight out there. It's a huge fight. People have to realise Mundine Green was one of the biggest fights in financially, or if the biggest fight in Australian boxing history.
Shouldn't be a problem putting on a couple of kilos. Victor Chinian, as Paul said, very disappointing for one of our world champions just recently. Lost his title, a surprise loss too, and it certainly didn't go to script for the man we call the Raging Bull.
It was 31-year-old Victor Chinian's 7th title defence, and on offer both his IBF and IBO flyweight titles. The 31-year-old Darchinian and Nonito Donaire stalked each other for the opening round before a moment of arrogance in the second gave the Filipino Flash some confidence. Things weren't going to plan when the Filipino caught the Raging Bull in the third and opened his eye.
That time you get counted that time. A slick left hand, and now Donaire comes in, tries to do some damage to Vic. He caught Vic. Vic staggers a little bit, and Donaire comes forward. It brings the crowd to its feet. People think Donaire can stop this guy.
Darchinian came back in the fourth to have it all locked up going into the fifth. So dominant was Vic, Donaire wasn't sure where the punches were coming from.
There's a straight left hand down the middle for the second time he spins. Now you see the referee, Eddie Claudio, come in and say, don't do that. It's illegal. You're not supposed to turn your back to an opponent for obvious reasons.
But it all turned around with 1:30 left on the clock in the fifth.
Previous fights away. Oh! Vic is nailed with a left hook. He caught him and timed it. Exactly what I said. I don't know if Vic can recover from this. His legs are gone. The count's up to 8, 9, and 10. He's been counted out. What an upset. The left hook nailed him. It's all over. He timed that left hand as Vic had thrown his right. Nailed him right in the chops, and it's all over. We have a brand new IBF, IBO flyweight champion of the world. His name is Nonito Donaire.
There was immediate fears Darchinian was seriously injured, and an ambulance was on standby to take the former two-time champion to hospital.
They're bringing the stretcher in. Let's hope Vic Darchinian is okay.
But it takes more than a left hook to keep Darchinian down. The only thing hurting now is pride.
IBF and IBO flyweight champion of the world, the Filipino Flash, Nonito Donaire.
The girls dancing up a storm here in WA. The Challenge Stadium is the venue. 2 fights remaining. One for a vacant national title, the other one step closer to a potential world title as we look back on that IBF flyweight championship defence for Victor Darchinian that turned into a nightmare. Nonito Donaire, the second of 2 brothers. We saw your brother Billy Hussein over there, and it was just typifying boxing when you say expect the unexpected.
Yeah, it's true. That's boxing, you know. Some days it's not your day. He didn't look focused, you know. His mind wasn't on the job, and he got called for a great punch. He could have knocked out anybody that punch. But I know Vic very well. He's very strong-minded.
Yep.
You know, he's got his pride, and he'll come back bigger and better person than he ever was.
Just looking back at the package and knowing Vic as we do, seeing him sticking the chin out and taunting during round number 2. Very un-Darchinian-like.
He looked a bit frustrated. He didn't look focused. You know, his mind wasn't on the game. You know, his mind wasn't there. He was missing a couple of big punches, which usually he gets them. And he got off his game plan a bit, and then got caught for a great punch. You know, he widened it up, and you know, if he could land that punch, he could knock the guy out himself. But he got caught before he caught his.
Love more to do. Also losing the world title over in the US. We do have one hope coming up, and that is this weekend. I speak of Michael Katsidis. Rocky is over in the US on the undercard to what promises to be a great night. Bernard Hopkins and Winky Wright. The Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas, the light heavyweight boys doing their thing. And for the WBO interim lightweight title, Michael Katsidis is featuring that one live at 11 a.m. Eastern, Sunday, July 22, main event. And of course, Fox Sports Pubs and Clubs. You turn around to the barman now and say, are we going to be seeing Katsidis, Hopkins and Wright on Sunday? And if the barman says no, you say, we might just head down for a quiet lunch and a ale or two. We want to see it at Fox Sports Pubs and Clubs. We've had a great year so far with big-time boxing on Fox Sports. We've travelled south, we've travelled north, and there's been plenty of action in New South Wales. Jumar Dulong, who we see up next.